February 17th, Saturday. I have a guy coming today for, he's taking 6 yards of corn. It's gonna be like 7,000 pounds, whatever. I'd like to load him out of the wagon here, just so I don't have to worry about the tarp caving in. Last weekend I had parked the wagon at my buddy's farm in the greenhouse because we had like a foot of snow coming. I was afraid of the snow caving in the tarp. It's a pretty tough tarp, but 8 inches of wet snow on top of that. I mean, it pulls up when it rains out, so I didn't want to take that risk, so I just brought this back from his place. So hopefully I'm going to unload into the skid steer bucket. You know, bucket's a half yard, so he'll take 12 bucket loads. I got the green wagon right here in case this takes too long to load, I guess. So took the Oliver off this. The key had the key switch had friggin' ice in it, so couldn't get it started, so I had to tow it over here with my pickup. So once we get this all unloaded, I have a 686 down in the farmyard. I got to pull the PTO assembly out of that. We just had the tractor redone. The guy never redid the PTO clutch in it. The clutch is smoked, so be pulling that out. So I'll show you how to do that. So maybe I'll record when the kid gets here, maybe not, I don't know. I don't really like recording when people are around, but we'll see how it all plays out. So it was a buddy of mine that came by and bought all that corn, so I was talking to him for a while. I really didn't record too much of loading him up, but he bought the whole wagon out and I took 1.5 yards out of the green one. So I'm glad that's empty. I don't have to worry about the snow caving in the tarp. I'm gonna pull the tarp off it, and you know, if this gets filled up with snow, whatever. I kind of wish there was a better way to clean this out, because it's all, you don't get all the corn out, it gets moldy and whatnot, but you know, it's what it is. But so I wanted this unloaded first so I didn't have to worry about, you know, the weather and the tarp and all that, because we got 8 inches of wet snow. We're right on the coast here. We're actually on an island, so right 8 inches of wet snow. I didn't want to cave that tarp in, like I said before, because even when it rains out, that's enough to puddle up, and then it's putting stress on the tarp, and that's a nice tarp, so I don't want to ruin that too much. But so I'm gonna unhook, I'll tow it over there, pull the tarp off. I'd love to pull that, I'd love to put that other fan in this wagon here, but I moisture checked it coming out of the wagon. It was 15.1, so it's perfect. But I really don't want to climb up on the roof there. It's, you know, 3-4 inches of snow up there, so probably end up dying trying to get up there and whatnot. But I don't think it needs it. It's, with it being so dry, I think that one fan is just enough to keep the air circulating through there and whatnot. But I kind of want to touch on this too now that I'm looking at it. I bought these at Harbor Freight because obviously this thing's got no lights on it, but these are Bluetooth lights and they're friggin' awesome. I had these on the grain dryer coming back from Pennsylvania. Worked awesome. Threw them on here just to get me, you know, my buddy's house is 15 minutes away from the farm here, so threw them on just to get it down the road. But they the Bluetooth, and it's got a little transmitter, plugs in the back of the truck, and works awesome. But Harbor Freight, it's like 130 bucks. It's the best thing I've ever bought out of Harbor Freight. So, but yeah, we're gonna pull the tarp off of that, like I said, throw that in the truck. I'll get all this cleaned up, and then I'm gonna go pull the PTO assembly out of that 666 we got. Actually, it's 686, but same thing. Well, just parked the tractor back over there to hook up the dryer. The fan wouldn't kick on. So somehow the fan came unplugged from the extension cord, so I'm gonna have to pull that top off anyway. I mean, I'm kind of tempted just to leave it because it's at 15%. So it's not gonna mold up, and it's cold enough that it shouldn't spoil anyway, but I don't know, I'll see how I'm feeling after after I pull this tractor apart. Hoping a little more of that snow melts off the roof so I can get into it, but we'll see. That's kind of shitty, but that's par for the course, I guess. So hop in the truck right now. We'll go pull the PTO out. I've never pulled a PTO out of one of these smaller tractors. I've done the one in my 856, and it's pretty much the same as like a 1466 I've done, and that 5088 I've had it out as well. But I was looking at the 686, and that's a smaller PTO assembly, so it should come out easier than the other ones. Those are hard. Those are a piece of cake. Those are a little bit of weight to them. So this one here should be a little easier to manage. So we'll get you set up, and fortunately I don't have my tool trailer with me, so I'm hoping whatever I grabbed this morning is gonna be enough to pull it out. All standard sockets and whatnot, so I don't think I'm gonna need anything else. It didn't look, like I said, didn't look big, so should come out nice and easy, fingers crossed. So this is our 686. Bought this a few years ago. We're gonna use it, well, we use it on the feed wagon. It's been down for like a year. The radiator had a hole in it. Someone was running it, didn't realize it, didn't check it, and ended up running it dry. And I thought we blew the head gasket out of it, so I put a head gasket in it. It was still milkshake in the crankcase. You know, the engine oil looks milky, so it went out. Ended up one of the liners was cracked in it. So we just got that back. It had a cab on it too. They pulled the cab off, put these flat top fenders on it. It looks a lot better with the fenders. It was a goofy Lauren cab or something, I don't know, but somehow the PTO clutch is smoked in this though, which is weird because when I ran it on the mixer wagon last time we used it before the radiator went, the PTO was working fine, but I guess somehow between then and now the clutch went, and the guy that put the liners in it didn't know that, so he never pulled it out. But it looks like, so on the bigger tractors, there's like 12 bolts go all the way around this, and it comes off as a unit, and it's really easy to work on. This here, I'm thinking it's the same way. Obviously these bolts in the corner, I'm assuming these 4 as well, and then the whole thing will come off. It's probably not that heavy. Pull this pin out right here, that's the engagement linkage, pull that off, and then just kind of muscle it out. When you pull these off, you want to have the back raised up, so I'm kind of on a hill right now, so that all the oil in the rear end there doesn't come pouring out. You're definitely going to lose some, but it won't be as much as if you were on level ground. So I'll set you up somewhere and start pulling these bolts out, and hopefully I don't make a mess. Hopefully, I know it's going to happen, but alright, I got you set up there. I don't know if this is going to work. I guess it will. So first thing I'm going to do is pull this cotter pin out, and then this little piece of linkage here is going to flop over. I'll stick that back in that pin. I don't think that's going to be a good enough drain pan, but it's all I can find in the garage, so we're going to run with it. I actually don't think, so that's not long enough. Keep in mind, like I said, I've never pulled one of these small ones out, so let me try on there here, but I don't think that bolt goes in. That's just for this plate, because it's not long enough to go into the housing of the tractor. So I'm going to zip that back on there. I bet you it's probably just those 4 on the outside, and unfortunately, this is going to have to, that actuator there for the PTO is going to have to come out, because you're never going to get that bolt out. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So I tried pulling this bolt out. It was pretty short. It's not going to go into the housing for the transmission, so, or for the rear end rather, so that doesn't come out. I'm thinking it's just these 4 here, those 4 bolts, but obviously this here engages your PTO, and obviously with that there, you can't get that bolt out. So I'm gonna go grab a big, I got a big adjustable in the truck. I'll grab that, see if I can spin this off, and then pull those 4 bolts out. And it looks like that's all that holds this on. We'll find out. I don't think we have a manual for this tractor, but I figured I'd walk over here and show you what the other style is. These are the dual speed PTOs. They have the 540 and the 1000 shaft. This is our 5088, but it's covered in snow, so I'll walk over to a 1466 over here. Yeah, so it's pretty much the same between this and like an 86 series. Well, I should say the 06 series, so like a 706, 806. Obviously the 756, 856, and then you go up in like the 66 series, 86, and the 88 series. They're all pretty much the same. You know, bolts all the way around. Pull those bolts out, unhook your linkage right there, and then pry on it. The whole thing comes out as an assembly, and you've got a clutch pack in there, and that's usually when I did the 856, my 856, I just put new clutch discs, new clutch pack in it, and sent it on its way. You can get the whole kit. There's some other stuff in there, but I didn't want to dig into it too much. I just threw the clutch pack in it and called it. All right, got you set up. Hopefully you don't fall over. So I got the wrench, loosen this up. This is threading out right now. I bet you I didn't undo that. I bet you gotta undo this other cotter pin here. Biting me a little bit. All right, come on. Starting to come. Broke off, but whatever, we'll get that replaced. So this is gonna pop off. Pull that linkage off of the PTO assembly side. Flip that back over. It looks like this. I don't know how you pull that out. Unless you gotta pull that front cover off. That's how you unhook it. I'd imagine that's what you gotta do. Maybe I'll try that. I think I'm gonna pull that cover off. Wherever my impact went. I'm gonna pull this cover off here. And then unhook whatever I have to unhook. To get that out so I can get to the bolt. Just 2 like 1/2-inch bolts right there. I gotta go. 4 actually, take that back. They're actually 9/16, not 1/2-inch. pull those 4 bolts as well, and around the center there. About the same size. Yep. That just popped on me. Spring back there. So, show you what I'm looking at here. So, pulled these 4 bolts out, as well as 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a spring back there. You know, what I'm trying to do is pull this out. Obviously that's hooked up. That's what engages your PTO. And I was hoping there was something I could unhook on this side, and looking down there, it does not look like there is. So, I don't know if I pull. I don't know what I unhook. I wish I could just like flip this over enough to get that out. I wonder if that's maybe a short bolt on the back side of that, and I can maybe just loosen that up and then pull it. I think I might do that. I might hook this all back together so it's all together, pull these 3 bolts out here, and then loosen this bolt here up as I'm pulling it out. I'm gonna try that. Started pulling this off, need an extension. But they are short bolts, so that's good. I don't think I'm gonna have to fight with it too much to pull that one there out. One, two. There's like so much oil in there, I can't see where the hell the bolt is. It's built up, so you really can't get the socket on it. I should try to. If I having to get that grease out of there so I can get the socket on better. Just a wrench or something. Maybe. See if that did anything. There you go. Let's see if I can undo this here. Need a hammer or something. Persuade that a little bit. Grab a hammer. So I did manage to get the wrench on it. It's coming loose. So I'm gonna get a couple more turns on here, and then see if I can pry on it and get it separated from the rear end. Now, I'm only pulling this thing. The guy who worked on it last, we gave him, the story is we had a 706 that was on our mixer wagon forever, and I don't know what happened to it, but the motor locked up on it, and that went somewhere to get rebuilt, and then that was before this thing grenaded. Before milkshaked the crankcase. So the guy at the road who worked on this told the boss here that if he could have the 706, he would get this up and running to where it should be. So she did that because the 706 is going to need a lot of work. And
So he took it and went through it, but like I said, didn't know that the PTO clutch was smoked on it, so he never touched it. So basically, he ordered, I'm assuming, the clutch discs, and said if we could pull it out and bring it to him, he would have it all back together, and then we could slap it back in. So that's what I'm doing. So we're not, I was under the impression he had a whole nother unit to go in this he was going to give us, but I guess he's just going to rebuild it. So that's what's going on. So, alright, that's ready to pop. I'm going to go grab a pry bar out of the truck. These are kind of shitty pry bars. You can't hit them on the back because the handle will split. They're Cummins Industrial Tools. Not Snap-on. I left those at work. Should have brought them because I knew I was going to do this. Well, let's see if we can separate it here. There's really no good spots out. There we go. It's starting to go. I was going to say there's no good spot to pry on it, and then there she goes. Split on that side, both sides actually. So now I'm gonna keep loosening up this bolt here. I think it was going to be an adequate drain pan, but it looks like there's not a whole lot of oil coming out, so there either wasn't much in this to begin with, or it's enough of an incline to stop all the oil from coming out the back. Either way, I'm not complaining because I did not want to have to clean up the oil off the ground. Come a little further. And then once I get the PTO unit out, I'll see if I can put that cover back on just so it's all together for Stevie when he goes through it. Well, he's probably going to pull it apart anyway, so. Go. Oh, you know what? That's now I know. Like I said, never done one of these small ones before, so I was kind of guessing on this, but that's slotted right there. Either that or someone cut that out to get it out easier, but it would help if I could hold the camera straight. See if you don't fall over. So I'll pull this out. Oh, there's all the oil. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be a big enough drain pan. We're just going to let that go, I guess. Throw some wood shavings on it afterwards. Freaking mess. Well, that's farming. Jinxed myself there, 100%. Ah, shit. Alright, so alright, so this is the unit here. I couldn't leave it like that. I threw some shavings down because I don't want to be walking around in the oil and track it into my truck.
So, I got this coming out. I'm gonna take my pry bar and kind of knock that off of the spline shaft on the back of the unit, because I don't want to take that off. That's gonna hook up to your, I believe it's gonna go straight through, and I think that hooks up to your either your flywheel or something that goes into the transmission. So I'm gonna knock that back so that stays there. That's kind of the pain in the ass when you do these. When you put this unit back in, you gotta match the splines up, and that's kind of fought me a handful of times. My old boss had me bump the starter on it, and that seemed to line it up just enough to get it to hook in last time. So probably gonna have to do that again when I go to put this back together, but I'll set you up and we'll pull this out. Hopefully you don't fall over. Snow stopped, sun's coming out, so that's good. Damn blizzard this morning when I was loading up Remington. Collar went with it. I thought the collar stayed with the unit, but alright, we're out. Where can I put this? Alright, I carried this over to the truck, but so this is your unit. There's some metal shavings and whatnot on the filter, so that's probably not good. I know someone ran it. We used to pull the hay wagon with this for the corn maze, and I know one of the people we hired to run the tractor ran it with the parking brake on and smoked the brake discs. And I don't know if that's a dry disc or if that's, I bet you that's part of the training. So that could be brake material there. I don't really know much about these smaller internationals, the 686s and so on, but those are your clutch packs right there. And without pulling this apart, I really can't tell how much. Oh, you know what? Just moving that around. It does not look like there's any clutch material left, because I can pull those all back, and I don't see much in there. So it just needs discs, which is about what I figured. I mean, if we had bought the discs, I could have thrown them together right now. It's pretty straightforward. Pull these bolts off here. This whole thing separates, and then you can pull that cup out, and then you just stack the new discs in there. Just throw it back together. It's pretty straightforward. But I'm covered in oil now, so that was awesome. This thing's great. But so I'm gonna put all my tools back together, and we will. I'm gonna run this down to DeCastro's there, and maybe I'll try to slap this. I don't know. I guess if I'm gonna bring it to him, he can throw the cover back on. But run this down to him, and then hopefully he can have this together by Monday. All right, so I'm on my way to Steve DeCastro's farm. When I was first asked to pull the PTO assembly out, I was under the impression he had a second one good to go. We were just gonna hot swap it, and then I was told that no, I was gonna pull it out. He was gonna rebuild it and give it back to us. I just got off the phone with him, and we are indeed just gonna hot swap one. He has one sitting there, so I'm gonna go snag that, and we'll throw it back in, so the tractor will be good to go for tonight, which is good because right now the other two tractors we have, the 5088 and the 1466, are both down. The 5088, I think the MCV valve is gummed up because we've had the clutch blow apart in that thing a few times, and I think the MCV is screwed up because the brakes and steering are not working right. I put a new hydraulic filter in it, and basically what happens is the steering gets like super tight, you can't turn it, and then you gotta like play with it back and forth, and then it'll free back up, and then you can run it. The 1466, we just lost the clutch in it, and my radio's kicking on. Clutch went in it, so we got to split that, put a clutch in. So right now I've only got two tractors running. one, I should say, our 7120 Magnum, and that's been going back and forth between the mixer wagon and the manure spreader. So we'll get the 686 up and running. We can leave that on the mixer wagon, so we don't have to keep playing hot potato with tractors. But this guy, Stevie DeCastro, he's a big IH guy, as are we at the farm. It's all we run pretty much, right? Internationals. But this guy has like 7 tractors for every implement he's got. And he's got all real nice stuff. They do a big tractor show over here, the Quidnick Island Antique Tractor Show. They show up with all their stuff all the time. He's got a really nice 1206, like gorgeous. You could eat off this thing. You know, they're vegetable farmers, so the tractors they live a pretty easy life. I think he does, let's see, they like squash, cucumbers, all the veggie staples. And then I think out this side of town here, they do there's a lot of potato farms. Like these guys here are a potato farm. This is Quonset View. But DeCastro is that pole barn right there. So I know them pretty well, but not well enough to walk in there with my phone out to record videos for the good people at YouTube. So I'm not going to try getting any videos of their stuff for you, but take my word for it, they have some real nice stuff. So we're going to pull into their driveway here. Good amount of snow here, if you couldn't tell. It's probably a foot deep here, and it doesn't look like they plowed. But so anyway, I'll catch up with you back at the farm. Actually, before I do that, there's a real nice view out here. I don't know if you can see any of this. I'll try to zoom out. It might have been too far, but it's like the highest point on the island, and it overlooks the Narragansett Bay. I don't know. Can't really tell, but it's a nice spot. So see you back at the farm. Nice sunset there. So we're pulling out. These are all tractors he just picked up. He was telling me from his cousin up in New Hampshire. It's a 1566 right there. There's a 656 behind it. I don't know what that is. What is that? 584. And it's a very beat up 856. But it's got all the toys in that shop there, and even a pole barn behind it over there, full of tractors. We ended up, he had a brand new one sitting there on the shelf that he had rebuilt years back. He gave us that. We needed to pull the pickup screen off because the one he had didn't have a pickup screen. Looking at the discs on the one we pulled out, they're definitely worn out for sure. He thought it could have been just the pickup screen was clogged. All that sludge that was in there that I showed you. It's all the PTO clutch disc material that's clogged up on it. Pull out a 4-wheel. So anyway, we put that all back together. I threw the cover back on, threw those PTO brake disc springs back in there for him. And now we're heading back to the farm with a new PTO assembly. So we will hopefully have this thing running in less than an hour, because it's only 4 bolts now going back in. Alright, I had to push that shaft back in. To make sure it was properly engaged. They just rolled the cows in to start milking, so hopefully I get this done in time. We can feed this thing tonight. We'll have to pull the Magnum back off the spreader like we have been doing. I don't think I'm going to be able to get the housing in there and get it engaged. So what you can do is pull these 4 bolts off right here, pull this cover off, and there should be a hole behind it so you can reach in there and grab the shaft and line it up. These 4 bolts off. Of course.
in doubt, get a big hammer. Do a few love taps. Boom. Let's see if I can. I don't really want to pull this cotter pin out, but I'm going to have to. Try to not ruin this gasket. Too late. Well, I got to pry it back far enough that I can get my hand in there. Grab a damn set of pliers. Had been just stopping the recording every time I go to grab tools, but I don't really want to keep touching my phone with my greasy hands, so I'm gonna do this in real time, I guess. That's out. Now this cover should come off. Let's set this down over here. There we go. Oh, perfect. All right, came off. Luckily for me, this one's not greasy, so. But of course, I wasn't planning on putting this back in today, so I threw the bolts back in, so I pull those out. So through this hole right here, you can see, hopefully you can see. Oh, right there. That's the coupler, that's the end shaft for the PTO assembly. So I'm gonna reach my arm through there. Reach my arm through there, pick up the shaft, the input shaft. Slide this back in. If I can. Okay, got it? Yep. Rubber gasket on the PTO side here. That's in there, right? Where I throw them bolts. That's here. pull this out a little bit just to get this one started here. Alright, that's how you do it. Throw these 4 bolts in. If you had a PTO shield, you would use these 4 big bolts here that we took out of that cover. We do not on this tractor, so you don't have to worry about it. Need that 3/4 wrench. Drop the stuff in the snow. Ruined my SUNY Cobble Skill sweatshirt. For those of you who follow Farming with Duffy Ag, Chris went to Cobble Skill as well as a year ahead of me. Took some classes together, all the ag classes. I don't know if I had any ag biz classes with him, but I know he was in my ag equipment class. He was in a couple of my couple of the groups we were put into for different projects and shit like that. Far. Get that started. I wish I pulled that top cover off when I pulled the old one out. This is a lot easier to tighten this top corner bolt off that I was struggling with before. Oh, where's my impact? Zip them bottom ones in. What's up?
You getting there?
Getting there.
Yep, had to pull it off, huh?
Yeah. You're right though, it's way easier to get at it from the top there.
Yeah.
I was looking at it inside, the oil actually wasn't that bad. It wasn't, I wasn't as milky as I thought.
How about down inside? Was it all gummy, gooey?
No, when I reached in there, it wasn't, I couldn't
right.
feel much, so
Yeah.
I figured screw it, slap it back in.
All right.
So,
All right.
going.
Now what you gotta do is, you got some gunk to put on that. I didn't buy a gasket, but
Yeah, I
we
got,
usually just spread it up with some.
yeah, some RTV. We got some in the barn. That other gasket came off fairly easy. I was thinking about reusing it, but I think I'm just
What,
gonna
off
throw
of
some-
this?
Off of this here?
Oh,
You talking?
yeah.
Yeah.
That one came off all right.
Yep.
Yeah.
gonna scrape all
A
this
little
stuff
bit.
here off, but
Well,
yeah.
just leave it because that'll fill the void from the piece of.
From the piece I took off there.
Yeah, I would just put the goo on, clean it up a little bit, put the goo on, and.
Yep.
All right. Hey. Yeah, Jane the bond.
I don't know if she's milking tonight. It might be. I know that blonde chick that's living in the house here. I think is milking today.
These are, you know, you didn't.
Yeah, those are tight. I was trying to get it squared up before I sent those in.
Yeah, that one's already kind of slow. I don't know. It's okay, I guess. Anyway, you know what you're doing.
Oh.
I'm gonna go and see if Jane's in there.
Yep. Yeah, she might be. I don't know. Was there a car out front?
Oh,
I think she went to go breed this morning. I don't know if she's back, but she might be in the barn.
all right.
Stevie coming to check up on me. He is right. This is a bit slow. This is big bolt right there at the bottom of the house that the other one didn't have, so I can't really get this on there. Bet you I can get a chrome socket in there.
I remember something else I wanted to tell you. The brake thing keeps locking itself on. You push the brake down, that little metal thing falls down. You gotta either take the pin out and take it off. I looked at mine to see how it works. It's kind of a crazy brake. Yeah, see the brake's on right now.
Oh, I set it to the wrong head.
Yeah, well, you're not going to be able to unset it because it. Yeah. All right. Oh, there's one spring still there. It's all a goofy rig. There's a piece of pipe that goes between these two rods.
Yeah.
It holds them together like, and then one of them springs comes up. There's two springs, but anyway, they're missing.
Okay.
So every time you push the brake down, it stays on.
I got you.
So you're kind of screwed.
Alright, I'll see if I can put that spring back on.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. There's two springs, and then there's them two little rods that have like a little tiny piece of like 8-inch pipe between them.
Yep.
Like it goes from one to the other. And I don't know. I'd have to get a flashlight and look at it better. But I think you're mostly just missing a spring in that little pipe, and then it would work again.
Okay.
But if you need to know, come on up, and you can look at mine and see how it works.
Alright, perfect.
Oz, the valve cover was leaking oil. And so my son took it off, and the valve cover gets really close to this little piece of tinny.
Yep.
And cord got it in, and it rotted a hole. And the valve cover had holes in the top of it where the oil was coming out.
Snow again.
All right.
All right, thanks. See ya.
There we go.
All right.
Chrome socket worked.
That guy knows international tractors like the back of his hand. He's real good.
Alright, so
I was gonna throw some RTV on it, but like he was saying, the
oil just kind of splashes up against every once in a while, so he said he'd run it, so I'll take his word for it. The snow's picking up again. It was coming down pretty good this morning. I was loading that Remington up with corn, but these bolts in. Take this one down. And I'm gonna pause you guys for right now because I'm gonna go look for some cotter pins, and it's gonna be looking for a needle in a haystack in the garage there.
All right, moment of truth. Fire her off. Oh, that would help. Hey, spinning. Let it run for a couple minutes. Should pressure wash all this off. Got to clean all this up. But she's all back together. They threw the Magnum on the wagon. They're running feed out right now with that. But well, I guess we'll hook it up and they're done. Make sure it spins over. So go from there. So I was gonna throw the 686 on the mixer wagon, but they got the scale hardwired to the battery. There's no, the hard's got all messed up years back, so they just hardwired it. So they said they would throw this on there in the morning. I did have a problem with the brake sticking on the left side here. The parking brake assembly is screwed up, and this piece here got wedged up on the right side, so the brake was stuck on, but got that fixed. Good runner now, so they'll throw this on there tomorrow, which works for me because I'm freezing and I'm covered in oil, and I'm probably not going to bother with throwing the fan in because I'm freezing and covered in oil. So that's the job for, I don't know, later this week. I'll come back and throw it in there and hook the other one up. I'll throw the other fan in there and hook the one that's in there up. It's supposed to be like a high of like mid-30s the rest of the week, so I'm not worried about it. It's gonna be cold enough. It's dry anyway. It's like I said, it's 15% when I measured it this morning. So, but I'm going to get this thing out of here, so pull the truck out, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Dinner time.